That was a banging cast. That was...
Of the spring split. I'm shocked here with Arne and VODS. You know what? I failed my prediction. I don't even care.
We didn't know, did we? Let's go.
Don't like.
That was an easy
rub
one.
my face in it. We'll soon be joined by Broxah as well, but oof, can I just get the first kind of thoughts about that game? That was some craziness. Tom Kitch stole a freaking Baron, Elder Dragon, sorry.
I mean, I can't describe what I saw from this game. There was so many messy moments. There was...
But let's start early game, though, because early game, really good for Fnatic. It was, because all you did was praise Broxah, like the fact that he 3-camped the Elise, the fact that they alleviated pressure from Nemesis, made it harder to actually set up plays onto him. I really liked the early game from Fnatic. I feel like it was just in the mid game, we were talking a lot of like, they need to do something, they need to do something, they need to do something. And because they didn't, that's when Vitality kept finding these picks, kept finding these plays. And I feel like Fnatic just slowed down a little too much.
Yeah, at some point what you have to do versus Vitality, because they always split push, they always have Yisuke on a side, you're split pushing, you should try to group and sit. And having Zoe is perfect for that, because if you find one bubble, you can kill instantly one guy. The problem was Tankens was denying a bit that, and at the same time, they were not grouping enough. So every single time they were grouping, they were like 4 guys, as will Arrow, and if Fizz will move earlier, they will get a pick before Fnatic can do anything. So it was kind of messy. Still, we find some good picks, like we're seeing right now on the screens, but I think Fnatic should have played more clean game around all together, being as a team.
I mean, I agree, but I think that's just one of the side effects of playing Vitality. And we've said this time and time again. They pull you into their chaos, and that is exactly why I think this is such an important and significant win for Fnatic and their development. Because even if they were in that chaos, in the end it's Nemesis that gets that final hit on the guy that goes down, and they win the game. So I feel like they really leveled up throughout this whole weekend and in this game, even though this was messy. Do you guys agree, or do you think you need to see more?
I think we need to see a bit more, but for sure, if we will have this game at the start of the split, you will know that Fnatic is gonna lose. Because at the start of the split, when Fnatic was equal to someone and they fight 5v5, you know the players will not have trust in each other and they will not know what they do. And this game was a perfect example that Fnatic is evolving, Fnatic is learning, and right now on an equal matchup or an equal score, they actually came ahead.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. We'll hear from Broxah, of course, firsthand if they were calm and collected in the comms. I do have to say, usually our analysts are supposed to be unbiased that we have here on the show. Oh my gosh, the whole time during those last fights, you went like, Fnatic has this, Fnatic has this, Fnatic has this. So
No,
yeah, you're happy about your guys winning.
I mean, every single time Vitality was doing something good, we are also praising
Of
Vitality.
course,
That's
yeah, we
not
were
true.
very
I confirm.
enthusiastic.
I mean, I think you're excused because, you know, you were, of course, part of the organization before. You know the guys very well. We're still waiting for Broxah. He's just arrived. He's going to get his mic, and then we're going to continue talking. In the meantime, though, I do want to pull up the standings, because with just 3 weeks left of the regular season, we're going to be gearing up for a thrilling fight in the race for playoffs.
Already getting that hashtag every game counts ready.
I know, guys, if you have something better than that, because actually, no, we can do that again. It might
Of course
be
we
the
can,
case.
because every single game will count next week, Sharks. Like,
We
look at
do.
these standings.
Yes, wow, you are so excited.
So at
You
the
calm
beginning,
down.
at the beginning of the split, I thought that I was not expecting this to play out. I was expecting like Fnatic, Vitality, G2 to be at the top, and there'd be like a clear top of the pack, clear middle of the pack, and then a clear bottom of the pack, right? However, what we've got this split is G2 is by far and away the best team, but teams are getting better and challenging them. And then everyone else is just somewhere in the middle with Rogue and XL at the bottom.
I'm going to stop you right there, because before we get Broxah in, we have statistically and mathematically, it's just a fact.
Yes.
G2 Esports has made it to playoffs.
Woo! A big surprise to everyone.
Apparently, especially to me. That's
Shouldn't
one
we
of
have-
those. That's,
Shouldn't we have confetti as well?
yeah,
to
that's
just drop
one
it?
of those things that I hear.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, jokes aside, congrats. Oh, what did I do?
No.
Congratulations to G2 Esports for making it to the playoffs. And we make a bit of a joke of it, but I do think it's quite important if we look at the story of G2, the revamped roster that came into this split and really is hitting all their goals running. That was the first team to lock in for playoffs, and yeah, whose journey we're following with open eyes, because they're crushing it.
I feel that they are the most dominant team we've seen since 2015 Fnatic. You can debate for days whether they are more so or less so, but the reality is this is one of the most stacked rosters that Europe has ever produced, and expectations are extremely high moving forward for this roster. So the fact that they've already qualified, I feel, is expected for many, and I'm excited to see what they can do throughout the rest of
I
the
am going to ask our guests now on the stage. Broxah, please join us. Hello.
Hello.
You know, you also deserve some confetti for your very first 2-0 week,
it's
so
fine.
you can consider it also
I
from you.
appreciate that.
So Broxah, first off, congratulations, your first 2-0 week in Euphoria. You talked about how exhausted you guys were, that it was quite hard, just the whole situation. Clearly, do you have your mojo back?
I feel I feel really, really good right now. But I feel good, but also stressed because there's so many 50-50 like elders, parents in this game, and as a jungler, I was really scared so many times.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen. Like, time can skew is a lot of damage, so that's fine. It can happen,
The worst part is I miss it when it's to a time Kench queue, and then when it's an actual 50-50,
Yes, that's it.
I actually landed.
Yes, that was funny. That was funny.
It feels really nice.
Yeah, of course, congratulations. Now, we were talking a bit about the game, and it looked chaotic. So what were the comms like, and how did you close it out in that decisive last fight then?
Well, I feel like the game started pretty controlled, and everything was going well for us the first 20-25 minutes, and then at one point we were like, all right, guys, we need to force something here because we just need to make something happen. I'm not even sure what it was, but I think the main problem for us was that Jarvan was so strong and he was so hard to deal with. So we just wanted to try to force things when Jarvan wasn't near, and that ended up with us forcing a lot of crazy Drakes and Barons and just going for objectives when you could argue whether we should or not.
Because I was going to ask, it was something I was talking about with Aranea, because we weren't entirely sure when the Yorick was locked in the draft. It was something you put in the first half, right?
No, we locked it on 4-5, I believe.
4-5.
Okay.
Because the thing was, they picked Jarvan 1-2, and we didn't know whether it was
jungle or
oh,
see.
it's a flex pick, right?
Yeah.
So we 4-5 Yorick.
Yeah, because the fact that you kept getting forced into team fights with the Yorick, I could definitely see was a difficult issue for you.
Exactly. It was really tricky, and while it started controlled, then at one point it was just like whenever Brevo could move, we just wanted to force something.
Yes.
So I would say especially the last 10 minutes were really, really chaotic.
100%.
I think the good part of Fnatic we come this week is that both games you played, you had an early game plan. You knew exactly what you wanted to do. This game, you triple buff him. You actually had an insane lead in the jungle, like 20 CS, one level ahead, something like that. So you were actually having a game plan. The problem what I saw this game is that mid to late game, you kinda lost the ideas of what to do, and there was a lot of scenarios of team fights where actually by mechanics you didn't pull your best. Because I remember the one in Baron that Reckless got hit by Arrow and Fizz ultimate with QSS up, that he can QSS both and just jump away, but he didn't in that time, and that team fight was a mess.
Yeah, a lot of team fights were a bit of a mess. I think some of the objectives as well. But I feel like these is then one of those games when you do win them. I couldn't catch the reaction. I assume you were very happy and jumped up. These are the kind of games that you can use as a springboard, right? So how do you feel now about your level going forward when you look at this and you know what you have to do? You are now in 8th position, but you are on 5 wins. So even though it sounds bad, it's not that bad at all. You are so close with all these other teams, but it does mean that there's no more time for mistakes. So
Do you guys know who you play next week? It's one of these two teams, right?
What are we playing? I'm actually not sure.
We'll get someone to
I think
tell
we're
us.
playing Schalke.
Yeah, because
Nice.
Schalke Misfits, probably. I'm not sure.
because like they're basically everyone above them right now is a direct competitor, and every time they get a win, it means that you're knocking someone else down. One
Every
close to the
game
gap.
counts,
Every
right?
single game will count. And
Fnatic Schalke is on Friday.
Fnatic Schalke on Friday. And based on Schalke's current performance and the fact that Fnatic's on the up and up, like it just results in a very tense next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it does. I do believe we also have the reaction of Broxah after the win. So there we go. It's good to see that smile again.
I got the Baron, boys.
Fantastic. Ah, super. It must also feel good for Nemesis because I kind of felt bad for the guy because he comes into the lineup and I think you expect as a young player, you come into the Fnatic lineup that just went to Worlds and then things aren't working out perfectly. How do you think he's going to learn and build from this win or these 2 wins?
Well, I think even though we've had some pretty poor performances on stage, he has still been pretty confident, and he knows that like it's by no means his fault individually that we've been dropping so many games. And I can imagine the hardest part for him has been to see his old teammates do so well, and then you know, coming into the team that did so well last year and then performed so poorly. At least I would have a really hard time dealing with that personally. Yeah. So more than anything, I think he's just really happy now that we're actually showing that we can become a good team, and then you know I'm sure he would appreciate meeting them in quarters and knocking them out or something. That would be the icing on top of the cake.
Ooh, that would be the dream.
I know pretty well that even though when he wins a game, he's not smiling, he's happy inside.
He's happy inside.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he tries to contain it,
Yes.
but you know, deep inside,
he's happy.
he's
It's
jumping.
a very different guy to Caps. Like Caps was like all out there, giggling, smiling, making jokes,
I mean,
doing
at
silly things.
the
Nemesis
start-
is quite calm.
At the start, Caps wasn't like
That
this
is
at
true,
all.
that is
He was a
true.
bit more shy, and then he started getting into the team, and he would start being more happy.
Yeah.
But Nemesis, I don't think he's gonna change that much. But yeah, this is how
You
it
don't
is.
need to. You don't need to be the in front of camera superstar. You have to be the superstar.
When
on the
Reckless
Rift
gives
and
him
you have
that
a great
hug,
weekend.
it'll change him. It changes everyone.
Alrighty. Well, speaking about Nemesis and his ex-teammates, let's take a look at the Kia Player of the Game leaderboard voted for by the LEC fans on Twitter. Also important to note is that in the event of ties, the player that has received the highest percentage of votes will come out on top. And the reason why I mention it is because Selfmade is just, he's on track, man. What do you make of that, of Selfmade as a jungler and how he's been playing on SK?
I think he has been playing really, really well. I had some decently high expectations from him, from what I've seen in the Spanish league, as well as playing against him in solo queue. And I think his aggressive style is just really fitting with SK. And I also feel like you could really see that some of them have played together for a long time, because they just have really good synergy. They know how to play as a team. And I think that, combined with him being a good player individually, has really set him up for success.
In this one, the player of the game for Fnatic versus Vitality was Nemesis with 41% of the votes.
Broxah.
Well,
It was if he had smited both Elder and Baron, that would have been the other way around.
I actually think like just because he got that Elder like licked away, he does not deserve to be in the player of the game.
To be fair, I can respect that. You know?
But very nice for Nemesis that he gets his, I believe, first player of the game. One thing I want to ask you, Broxah, is yesterday we had Hussein here, Aranea, and Reckless, and we asked about kind of the G2 dominance and how they see that progressing. And I'm paraphrasing, but Aranea said, and the rest concurred, kind of, that the G2, it's not going to be like a bulldozer that is unstoppable, that there are chinks in the armor that they think teams are going to be able to fight against much better as time progresses. What's your vision on that?
I kind of agree with that statement, because I feel like the main reason that G2 has done so well so far is just purely individual strength. And while they do sometimes show signs of really good team play, it's not like they just constantly play really well as a team. And most often they just play really aggressive on every lane, and then they just snowball off that. And obviously recently there's been a few games where they fell a bit behind, but still managed to grab the win in the end. But when I think of a team with really good team play, I don't really think of G2. My mind goes towards someone like maybe Schalke instead, for example.
Yeah,
I think over the history there's a lot of teams like SKT and teams like this who sign on their team play, on their macro, and playing together. But this is not something you've seen from D2. What you've seen from D2 is individually really strong players. I've been in the backstage talking with a lot of the players, and a lot of them says that they have the best individual player on every single role, or probably top 3 on every single role. So having that lineup stuck, I think it's why they're getting so many wins. But we've not yet seen a high level of macro team play from them.
Yeah.
In some ways, they remind me a bit of the Chinese playstyle, and especially IG, with how they were playing at Worlds, because it's not like they had absolutely incredible team play either. Obviously, they had really, really good areas of team play, but at the same time, they just often destroyed everyone individually, which is also partly why we lost the
Yeah,
World
let's hope
final.
you don't meet G2 then in the finals.
I also
Just
think
kidding.
it's a really cool thing for League of Legends, because for a long time, at the beginning of League, raw talent could just win you a lot of games.
Yeah.
But then as people got smarter and better understanding of the game, then it became much more about understanding how to be good at League of Legends. But with vision removal, with like certain identities like being more important than others, it means that G2 have really been able to shine relying on their individual talent. And even though people criticize them for their macro, I still believe that this can be a really strong team that can go very far.
Yeah, we'll see in the best of fives, of course, super exciting. And speaking about important and big plays as we close out week 6 of the Spring Split, let's look back at the best moments from the Rift in our Alienware big plays. First up, G2's Caps completely took over the game against Schalke yesterday. Let's check out some of the highlights from his LeBlanc.
And Jankos' early game impact has just not been there yet. But there is a lot of time. The chains interrupt Abadage. He's got no self-cast. And now Schalke want to try to do the same. Ignat's going to be in a lot of trouble. Paranoia comes down. Ignat stays alive long enough to escape with his life. Here comes Upset. He picks up a kill onto Perks, but it's at the cost of 2. That's a double for Caps.
G2 find themselves more kills, and now again Caps is on the road.
Look at this. Caps kills Upset.
You can do your camp, I think. Personal insane, actually.
I don't know if it's like Caps or is it just LeBlanc plays. You know, it's Fed LeBlanc. Any case, next in their game against Origin, Fnatic found a duck wandering in the river, quack, with no idea that it was spotted on a ward. Here's what happened next. Quack, quack.
Just ult in the lane. No more aggressive plays from Fnatic. You can tell, though, that OG hesitate for a second. Not sure exactly where he's going to go.
You're on a ward.
Goes over
Get
the
him
wall.
this time.
Reckless knows what's coming. Oh, they're
This
baiting.
is not good.
This is rude.
Reckless is like, oh, I'm going to look tasty. Look at how I stand next to this wall, setting you up for the perfect flash distortion.
No, no, no. There's
He
4
says,
people coming
"Ghost
to you, buddy.
Poro."
Nemesis has exhaust. There's just nothing.
Surprise! Here we go. Goodbye to Nuke Duck. Can't dodge the Acathian rain. Just going to get point and click and dead.
Yeah, just don't show him that you know. Don't show him that you know. Don't show him that you know. I will slip him. I will slip him. Yeah, don't show him that you know. Don't show him that you know. Wait. Can you sleep him? Nice. What?
Was it personal?
We knocked an ultimate, Kai'Sa ultimate. Holy.
Well,
He was missing the Galio ultimate there, to be honest.
So we felt we pre-planned that for like, how long? 20, 30 seconds? I was just standing in the pit waiting for my moment.
Definitely so. The next one, I'm sorry, we have to look at it. As we just saw, Vitality and Fnatic close out. Insane game.
Don't do this to him,
Vitality's
please.
Jack Troll even stole the Elder Drake.
Don't
as
do
Tom
this to
Kent.
him.
Let's get another look.
I think I said dive, meant dodge. He's trying to dodge everything.
They take this fast. Shizuke on the flank, though. The vision is here. Oh my God! Gets it! What? There is no summoner spellbook. There is no smite.
Okay, going to Drake then. Fizz has good flank.
Okay. We go mid.
They do it. They do it. I got it. Go mid.
And let's talk about luck right here. I mean, Jack knows how to lick with the Tom Kitchen. Gets it right there. How do you miss that?
All right,
How do you miss that?
How did you miss that?
Well, the thing is, often when we do objectives like Drake or Baron, we usually do it a little more controlled and a little slower. But here it was just, we had 5 members just burning everything they had as Drake at once. And I really didn't expect that burst. So suddenly it was just dead before I could even
So it's your
react.
teammate's fault, is what we're hearing.
Not necessarily, but whatever.
Jack Troll had his big tongue plays in 2018. He's following up this year, but with actual Tom Kench on the Rift. That's nice. All right, let's take a look at the schedule quickly because it's time for LCS very, very soon. Fnatic is up versus Schalke. We've already mentioned that. Pick me one and talk about it.
Misfits versus Vitality
Agree.
is going to be an extremely
Why?
important
In 3
game.
words.
Misfits need win.
Fantastic. Over in the LCS, though, they're about to start their pre-show, followed by 100 Thieves versus Optic Gaming. If you miss anything from the LEC, you can catch our rebroadcast after the last game in Los Angeles. That is it. Thank you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Congratulations, Broxah, on a 2-0 week. Thank you, Aranea, for being with us. VODS, you're great. You're dressed fantastically today.
Thanks.
And we're going to call it a night.
Just today.
Thank you.
Just today, bro.
And we'll be back for more action in the
That's another one day.
LEC next week. See you then.
Bye.
Optic's going to win, by the way.
Welcome back to Berlin, Germany, and week 6 of the LEC Spring Split. Starting with first place G2 Esports against XL Esports.
Volatile Spiderling goes out. Jankos gets the cocoon as well. Sinks in the fangs. Venomous Bite chasing down. Solo kill to Jankos. Caps gets knocked back by the explosive cast. Special is drawing some pressure onto Jankos. Hourglass used. Kasing is already down. And there's a Protobell dash forward by Caps. G2 Esports take down XL. And confirm themselves a playoff spot. Now Abadage will be a little bit of pressure.
Wait.
Whoa, Memento! That's not a time to use your hourglass. That is not the time to push that button. Let's get a flash inside. It's secured. It's stolen by Memento. He's coming in, but it might be too late. Paranoia into the pit. It's secured. That's stolen away. SK Gaming get the Baron, and SK Gaming are one step closer to playoffs.
Oh, it's okay. We don't need to catch these waves. We can go for the fight. He looks like they may have found the fight because instantly Nuke Duck is dead. Ensemble remains untouched. Almori now trying to find his way into the backside of the fight. They're stepping forward. Patrick remains untouched. Trying to get some damage down. Trying to get something done, but Soaz gets the fear. Input buff from the Tristana keeps her alive. Now immediately Hansama's going to try to fire back, but he's so incredibly low. Eyes on the Tristana. Everything comes down to Patrick. This is his moment. Hansama finds the kill, but at the end of the day, it is Misfits who take the fight, and it'll be Misfits who take the game. Ooh, going in. Senkux, why would you go that way? That is definitely not the way you want it to go. Splice are definitely just trying to tie the whipcord around over and over and get them to trip, and they may have to trip EQ. Whoa! Good night! Splice are going to take the game in the end. It is a messy one, but finally they find a way into the base, and they find the win.
Oh, hold on.
Zuke, though, going for Nemesis. This could be the first big boon. Out comes the Nocturne ultimate. Goes into the air, flashes forward to Zuke. Is this the hero moment until now on a killing spree? Still the Ashes alive. Jack 12 stepping forward. Milkweed's up. Breakfast steps forward. No, this is his moment. Vitality are